Hello, everybody. We are back. It is Wynn from University Underdogs, and I will be recapping all of the games that took place in week 2. Of course, big week in college football, a bunch of upsets, a bunch of FCS over FBS upsets, even a couple of Division 2 teams beating an FCS school. So we'll get to that in 1 second. And, college football, we're already into the season. It felt like yesterday when it started on August 23rd out in Ireland. But now we're already here in week 2 that already finished because it's the Wednesday after. We already have a game on Friday between NC State and Wake Forest, and that's how fast the college football season passes. So we need to cherish it. So getting into all the FBS games, let's start it with a very good one. James Madison at Louisville. Louisville gets the 2-touchdown win here. Louisville, of course, both schools' starting quarterbacks were transfers from different schools. Matthew Sluka coming from UNLV. And then I can't remember the Louisville quarterback's name. I know my friend did a video with him. That is not good. Miller Moss coming in from USC. How do I forget that one? But, Louisville gets the win here. Not bad for James Madison. They're 1-1, beating Weber State in week 1. Next up, Western Illinois and Northwestern. Western Illinois gets crushed 42-7. Western Illinois already playing 2 Big Ten schools. They could be a good school in the FCS. They have not played well against the Big Ten schools, but they're expanding every time. Even though this one is Northwestern, they lost in week 1 against Tulane. Western Illinois, great start to the season for them, at least in the Big Ten, because they are an FCS school. And, not much to say there, a blowout for Northwestern's favor. Next up, Northern Illinois versus Maryland. Of course, Northern Illinois, big upset last year against Notre Dame. Wasn't able to pull off a big upset this year. I don't think they have any other games against, a big school. Unless I could be wrong. Against Mississippi State, they do have one on Saturday. But I don't think that would match up to what they did against last year against Notre Dame. Of course, it was a pretty close game through the whole way, and then Maryland started to break through in that second half. So Maryland might need some work. They're 2-0, of course, but not against great teams. Next up, Eastern Washington coming into Boise State and getting absolutely crushed. Of course, great for Boise State. I mean, coming off the loss against USF, who we will get to later, having a great game this weekend. But, Boise State, Maddox Madsen had a great game. Dude, honestly, Maddox Madsen played great that game. I'm not sure if he just did bad against USF, but that did not show how he played against USF. Yes, it's Eastern Washington, but they're a great FCS school. They could be ranked by the end of the season in the FCS. Let's be real. So that gives a decent amount of hope for Boise State. Knowing that Ashton Genty's gone, they lost a couple of players to the NFL, but it happens to some teams. They could get off to a bad start. They could get upset, but they'll keep fighting through. They're going to be good this year, let's be real. Then that closes up the Friday slate, going into the Saturday slate, starting off with Miami, Ohio at Rutgers. Rutgers gets the 45-17 win here. Rutgers, close game against another MAC school in Ohio last week. They were able to pull off the win. Rutgers goes to 2-0. Miami, Ohio, dude, I think they're 0-2 right now. Yes, they're 0-2 against pretty decent schools in Rutgers, and if ESPN would load here, I'd be able to know. They lost to Rutgers and Wisconsin. So they only scored 17 points all season. So the Rutgers defense still needs work, but hey, they're able to pull off the win. Next up, Army beating Kansas State. Kansas State got embarrassed in that one. Army, who lost to an FCS school in week 1, beats Kansas State on the road. So we're going to be attending an Army game this year. Not sure if it's going to be football because scheduling conflicts. But at first I was scared because Charleston State beat Army. How would that affect the game day there? But now that they go into Kansas State territory in Manhattan, I believe, it's going to be a lot better of a atmosphere there in West Point. It's West Point, of course. Why wouldn't it be? Next game, Boston College at Michigan State. An absolute dagger in this one for Michigan State to get the win by 2 points in 2 overtimes. Of course, both teams played last year. If I can remember off the top of my head who won that game, I can't even tell you. But no, Michigan State gets the win. Aiden Childs, a great quarterback. Not much to say here. What do I mean? Not much to say here. It's a 2 overtime game. They won by 2. Score was 40-42. It was a great game. It could have been one of the best in week 2. But no, Aiden Childs losing. Boston College losing. Tommy Castellanos to Florida State, who won last week against Alabama. So he's a great quarterback. So honestly, I think if they had Castellanos, probably would have won that one. One that I don't have much to say. BYU absolutely demolishes Stanford. Stanford's horrible. Andrew Luck did not fix anything there. BYU gets the win 27-3 in that one. Bear Bachmeier, of course, great quarterback. I'm going to put on a hat for this one. It's better. But no, Bear Bachmeier didn't perform that as well as I thought he would, but he still was able to pull off the big win. This hat's horrible. But no, he was still able to pull off the big win. BYU gets the win. Next up, Grambling State at Ohio State. Ohio State scored 70. What did you expect? Grambling loses by 70 points. Not much to say. Julian Stain played well. Another big win for Penn State against FIU, winning 34-0. Once again, not much to say. Drew Aller played well in some rainy conditions. Next up was Louisiana Tech at LSU. LSU, of course, number 3 team in the country, got the win. I didn't think it was that great of a game from Nussmeier, only scoring 23 points against Louisiana Tech. So a bit rough on the LSU offense. Defense was able to stop Louisiana Tech pretty well, though. Austin Peay versus Georgia. Georgia had a pretty close game through the first half. Like, Austin Peay was making it very close, but of course in the second half, Georgia able to get the win in this one. Ryan Puglisi, my projected starter for Georgia next year. Avon Old Farms GOAT. Love that guy. Next up, Bethune-Cookman at Miami. What do I have to say here? Miami, of course, gets the win. And, yeah, it's a blowout for Miami. Another blowout and another unexpected blowout. Oklahoma State visiting Oregon. I thought this game would be like 25-10 or like 27-10 for Oregon. No, Oklahoma State scored 3. Okay, so against an Oregon defense, it happens. Then the Oklahoma State defense, of course, chokes and allows 69 points to Oregon, which is unacceptable, especially if you're in a Power 4 conference, especially in the Big 12. Ollie Gordon's a great running back, but he's gone. So, San Jose State, next game, San Jose State going into enemy territory at Texas. I wouldn't say it gets blown up, but Arch Manning had a great game today. Might make his case bigger for Heisman. He threw for 4 touchdowns in not a lot of time, actually. So he performed really well in that one. Texas gets the win. Next up, Troy versus Clemson. Troy was winning at halftime 16-3. And then they got blanked in the second half, losing by 11. But that's, like, if you're Dabo Swinney, you can't allow that in the first half. Like, yes, you can be a great second half team, but you still have to perform well in the first half. It makes no sense. But, Clemson able to get the win. Like I say all the time, a win's a win. So it's completely fine. Next up, South Carolina State at South Carolina. South Carolina, of course, gets the win here. Number 10 ranked team in the country. Of course, if you check our Instagram, I have Lenore Sellers as my Heisman pick for this year. So, he's a great quarterback. I do think it was closer than I thought it would be, though, for South Carolina State. South Carolina State put up a pretty decent fight in this one. Not winning. Gosh, man. Yikes. Losing by 28. It's a horrible loss, let's be real, but for an FCS school, it's not as bad as you may expect. Next up, Illinois going to Duke. Illinois demolishing them 45-19. I thought Duke was going to be ranked, but now I've since changed my mind. Not much to say. Luke Allmeyer, once again, great quarterback. Next up, Arizona State and Mississippi State. Mississippi State is able to pull off the win against top 15 ranked Arizona State in this one. And like Arizona State, I would say the same thing, like with Ashton Genty, but with Cam Scatterboot this time. But to be fair, Arizona State is not a bad team, nor is Mississippi State. Mississippi State is going to be a good team this year. I think they're going to be bowl eligible. Next up, my King Byron Brown beats Florida in enemy territory. After beating 25 ranked Boise State last year, Byron Brown goes into the Gator Swamp and wins on a walk-off field goal. Byron Brown, of course, didn't kick the field goal, but is still able to bring South Florida to a 2-0 record, bringing them into the AP top 25, sitting at 18 right now. Great for Florida State or South Florida. Yikes! South Florida gets the win there, 18-16. Once again, game not much to be said here. Florida State wins this one 77-3. I'm just not even going to say anything on that one. You could probably tell what happened. Then Michigan versus Oklahoma. Michigan loses by 11 to Oklahoma. Yes, it was on the road, but you still can't be losing to a team that's like you're higher ranked than them, and you're also Michigan. And you have you have a young quarterback in Bryce Underwood, but that's still not an excuse. So Oklahoma gets the win in that one. The Cyhawk game between Iowa and Iowa State goes to Iowa State this time. They're the 16th ranked team in the country. Next up, going to stay on this game for one more minute. Iowa, great team. Let's be real. Losing Caden McNamara to ETSU. Who we will get to in a minute, but Iowa State is able to pull off a 3-point win here. Iowa State has a great fan base, and I think that's really one of the only reasons they won that game. Next up, we have another 2 overtime game. Baylor pulling off the 3-point upset against 17th ranked SMU, 48-45. I think that clears out Boston College versus Michigan State every day of the week. SMU, I believe they fell out of the rankings. I'm quite positive that they did. Next up, Utah State at Texas A&M. Texas A&M wins this one by 22. Next up, Ole Miss on the road at Kentucky, which I think I saw online that it was deemed a non-conference game. Which doesn't really make sense, but I could be wrong. Of course, Ole Miss coming in and getting the win by 7, 30-23. Next up, UL Monroe versus Alabama. Alabama cleared this one 73-0. But one thing I am looking at from UL Monroe is their punter, Mackenzie Ryan, absolutely decking the punt returner. I wish I had a video. I don't want to get copyrighted. But no, he absolutely decked him, and I love that from a punter. It's awesome. Next up, like I said, back in the Cyhawk game, losing Cade McNamara to ETSU. We're here with ETSU getting absolutely crushed by Tennessee, 17-72. Of course, Tennessee got the win in that one. Yeah, I mean, what else would you expect? Next up, Kennesaw State versus Indiana. Kennesaw State loses one by a lot, 9-56. For all the games that are like blowouts and stuff, I'm just gonna not really give any explanation on it. Next up is Kent State at Texas Tech. For the next couple of games, I'm just really not going to give any context on it since they're all blowouts. Of course, Texas Tech gets the win here. Then Cal Poly at Utah. I'm going to grab my phone here. Read off the games. Cal Poly at Utah. Utah wins this one 63-9. I'm going to put it back here. Northwestern State, after getting their first win in a while, I saw that online too, goes into Minnesota and gets whooped 66-0. Next up, NC State hosting Virginia. NC State gets this one by 4 at home, 31-35. Central Michigan versus Pitt. Central Michigan was absolutely horrible in that one, but Pitt gets the win in that one. One game I would like to focus on: UConn at Syracuse. Syracuse just barely won this one in overtime. UConn played a great game, and I know UConn fans are saying they played horrible. Yes, they played horrible in the second half, but in the first half, y'all had Syracuse in a chokehold. But Syracuse still able to get the win. I know Fran Brown made the Syracuse team run sprints after only winning in overtime against a team like UConn, which is a crazy move from Fran Brown. But next up, Liberty at Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State gets the win in this one, led by quarterback Gavin Wimsatt, Rutgers transfer. Going back to another Rutgers transfer, getting the win in this one, Howard at Temple. Temple gets the win 7-55. I believe it's Evan Simon. He's a great quarterback. Don't know why we let him go, but hey, he's succeeding at Temple. Gotta feel great for him. Next up is Idaho State at New Mexico. New Mexico wins this one by 10. Next up is Kansas versus Missouri. I think this was one of my favorite Week 2 games, and Missouri is able to get the win here, 42-31. Fresno State goes into Oregon State, pulling off, I wouldn't say an upset. I had Fresno State winning this one, but they won 36-27. Now, when I continue these games, I'm going to give you a brief reminder about the University Underdogs adventures. So, like I said earlier, not sure if we're going to be doing the Army one, but we will make it up to you. Well, we definitely do have the 4 other games scheduled, or at least the 3 games, because we have a bunch of fun ones for those. So tune in on the YouTube when all those games are over. We like pretty quick uploads, so we're gonna hopefully try to get them in as in a week for all the games. And yeah, I'm excited for this. We have a couple of guest appearances. We're going to be at a card show this weekend. It's called the Northeast Card Expo. We're going to be interviewing a couple of athletes, a couple of mascots, a couple of card sellers. It's going to be great. Stick around on the YouTube and the Instagram for that one. But now let's get back into the FBS games. Gardner-Webb goes to Georgia Tech and gets blown out 12-59. Bowling Green at Cincinnati. Cincinnati wins this one by 2 touchdowns. Delaware versus Colorado. Colorado wins this one 31-7. Lindenwood at Appalachian State. Appalachian State wins this one 20-13. I thought Appalachian State would win this one by a lot more, but they didn't, of course. Then, of course, Texas State on the road at the Alamo Dome versus UTSA. Texas State gets the win in this one 43-36. UAB versus Navy. Navy wins this one by 2 touchdowns. Next up, overtime game. North Texas at Western Michigan. North Texas wins this one 33-30. Next up, St. Francis versus Buffalo. Buffalo wins this one 45-6. A similar score bug for this one. Middle Tennessee State going to Wisconsin. Wisconsin winning 42-10. Next up, West Virginia at Ohio. West Virginia gets upset by Ohio. Honestly, I wouldn't even say it is an upset. Ohio's a great team. I think they're going to win the MAC this year again. They put up a great fight against Rutgers, unfortunately losing by 3, and they beat a big Power 4 school, and I think that's their redemption right there. Next up, Northern Iowa at Wyoming. Wyoming gets the win in this one. They advanced 2-0. Western Carolina at Wake Forest. Wake Forest with the blowout in this one, 42-10. Next up, the Battle of the Arkansas State versus Arkansas. Arkansas wins this one, 56-14. Next up, Sacramento State versus Nevada. Nevada wins this one, 20-17. Jackson State versus Southern Miss. Southern Miss wins this one, 38-20. Now I'm just realizing how many games are in this week and how much more games I have to cover. Gosh, man. I love my job. Next up, Bryant at UMass. Bryant with another FCS over FBS upset. We don't really usually get those, but we got them a couple of times this year. Bryant, of course, going into UMass, pulling off the win. I have a couple of guys who like Bryant, so good for them. Next up, Texas Southern at California. California wins this one. Missouri State getting their first FBS win over Marshall. Marshall's entire team transferred last year. What do you got to do? NC Central goes into Old Dominion, loses 54-6. Next up, Campbell at East Carolina. East Carolina wins this one 56-3. Florida A&M at Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic wins that one 56-14. Next up, North Carolina at Charlotte. North Carolina, of course, wins that one by 17 by a score of 20-3. Next up, Houston versus Rice. May I say at Rice. A battle of Houston. I know Houston and Texas State are like neighbors, as in Connecticut College and Coast Guard. It's like the same thing there. But no, Houston, of course, able to pull off the win, being the bigger school in that one, 35-9. North Carolina A&T at UCF. UCF pulls off a big blowout on this one, 68-7. Next up, Western Kentucky at Toledo. Toledo wins this one, 45-21. There are so many games this week. Whoa. And only a couple of them are on Friday, and then you have all of the games that are on Saturday, so it's kind of crazy. But all right, keep going. Northern Colorado versus Colorado State. Colorado State gets the win in this one, 21-17. Memphis on the road at Georgia State. They get the win in that one, 38-16. Tulane wins another one, but it's a very close one, 33-31 against South Alabama. Not looking great for Tulane in that one. Long Island goes in for another FCS over FBS upset, beating Eastern Michigan 28-23. Next up, Ball State at Auburn. Auburn wins this one 42-3. Vanderbilt versus Virginia Tech. This one was a great one. I know a couple of guys who went to this one. But Vanderbilt, of course, able to pull off the 24-point win. Next up, Akron at Nebraska. Nebraska won this one 68-0. I just realized this, but whenever I say Nebraska, I have like a Nebraska act. I'm not trying to do that on purpose, I swear. But no, Georgia Southern goes into USC, loses by 39. Southern Illinois versus Purdue. Purdue wins that one 34-17. Charleston Southern versus Coastal Carolina. Coastal wins 13-0. UNLV defeating UCLA 30-23. I think UCLA is 0-2 right now. Gosh, like UCLA, what's going on, man? I mean, you've played okay schools, but you can't be losing to UNLV in Utah. Next up, you have New Mexico at home. I'm excited to see how that one goes. So then McNeese at Louisiana. Louisiana wins this one 34-10. Next up, Tulsa at New Mexico State. New Mexico State wins this one 21-14. UT Martin at UTEP. UTEP wins this one 42-17. Weber State at Arizona. Arizona wins that one 48-3. San Diego State at Washington State. Washington State wins that one 36-13. UC Davis at Washington. They win 70-10. And our final game of week 2 in the FBS goes to Sam Houston versus Hawaii. Hawaii, of course, wins that one by 17. Now that we knocked out all the FBS games, I would like to go over some notable FCS games and give you a couple of takes on some of the games this week. So I'm trying to look for like FCS schools versus FCS schools, but there's barely any of them because they're all playing FBS, and I'm not going to cover all of them. So Dayton wins against Thomas More. Looks like St. Thomas More. I don't really know. They win that one 38-0. Sacred Heart goes into Lehigh. They lose that one 18-10. I'm a Sacred Heart guy myself. Let me show you something that I have. I have a couple of Sacred Heart gear. I have that one. We have a couple of videos there coming up soon, so stay in tune. Let me go put this back in my closet. My closet is so packed, it's not even funny. All right. Now that that's all settled up, American International, I believe they're a Division II school, goes into Central Connecticut State, but loses. Central Connecticut State wins this one 34-7. Lincoln, Pennsylvania, I also think is a D2 or D3 school. Plays Duquesne. Duquesne blows them out in this one. Now New Haven. New Haven also may be making a video there. No guarantees. But New Haven just joined the FCS this year. They go into Mercyhurst. They are 14. They lose 14-48. New Haven 0-2 this year. They're playing at U Albany in week 3 on Saturday. And not sure if they're going to win that one. I know one that they could win is going to be against Saginaw Valley State. We will hopefully attend that one. Probably not, though. So, yeah, goes to Mercyhurst in that one. Next up, Eastern Illinois at Indiana State. Indiana State wins that one. Then Chattanooga at Tennessee Tech. Tennessee Tech wins this one. Hold on, let me look at how many games we have. Heck no, I'm not doing all those games. But no, just go over some big ones. Truman State at Butler. Butler Pioneer School. So they win that one by 10. And then, I'm going to try to go over all the FCS games I can. But there's not going to be a lot of them because a bunch of them are like small FCS versus small FCS, and then the big FCS schools are always playing like Division II schools. So it's hard to really determine. But some takes I would like to go into for going into week 3 is that Arch Manning is not as good as people think. I don't think he's going to be a high draft pick this year. But that's my take there. I think he's an Nepo baby. I don't think if he had the last name Manning, he would be starting quarterback at Texas. That's just my personal take. In the comments, put yours in. Maybe you'll be featured in a video. So it's about 8:21 Wednesday night. That'll do it for week 2. We'll be making another one for week 3. But it's been a great week so far. We're 2 weeks in the college football season, and boy, do I gotta say, it has been a good 2 weeks for college football. So, man, a bunch of talking today. I think we're gonna end it there. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like and subscribe to University Underdogs. It would mean a lot. It would also help with upcoming videos in the future. So you never know. I might shout out a subscriber if people start subscribing a lot more. But anyway, that will do it. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. And of course, watch a bunch of college football. That's my only goal. Peace.